No, believe it or not. Oh, wait, oh my god, that was not me. What was I saying? Give me a bit of closure. Like, who's this dude, Percy Jackson? How is this real life? I've forgotten words. What did I read? What are you waiting for? Hi, I hope you're all really good. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, it is my July reading wrap up. I actually had a brilliant reading month in terms of how many books I read, and I didn't quite realise until I got all the books out for filming this video and I realised that I have actually read loads. I think I have read 11, which I think is the second best I've done, but I know I started this month with a lot of half-finished reads, and so you can see a lot of the time I get carried away, especially when I'm in reading slumps. But I think this month, don't tell anyone, but I think I officially left my reading slump behind. Start of August is not going so well, but July was a success. It was very much in two halves in terms of the quality of the books I read, but I'm going to stop explaining it all and just get started. So the first book I read was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I was really scared of this book. There is so much hype around it and I was told it was going to break me, which it very much did. I love an emotional book, but I cry at like every single book I read, so when a book is like supposed to make you emotional, I am wrecked. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It did absolutely break my heart. I just feel like the ending was rushed. I actually wish the ending had been different. Don't come at me. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. If anyone has read it, then please do let me know, because I'd love to talk to someone about it. But I just felt like it could have been even better. I wanted it to be a 5-star, but it just wasn't quite there. Then I reread The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams and I annotated it. Oh, that wasn't very good. I absolutely love reading and annotating books. I only ever annotate on a reread. I'm the biggest Sarah Adams fan. If you've not read Sarah Adams, please do. I think this is my favourite of hers, but they're all really close behind it. I would start with this one, I think. But basically any Sarah Adams, she does the perfect romance. She it's completely clean, but it's also just so gorgeous. Just please read Sarah Adams. It's obviously a 5-star. Moving on. Then I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune. Arguably a very hyped book for this summer. It was a 3-star, I think. Yes, it was a 3-star. It was okay. I was in two minds about it. I enjoyed the characters. I loved the setting. The setting was gorgeous. This is a very much summer read, not that you'd be able to tell. Gorgeous cover. I read This Summer After, no, Every Summer After, that's what it's called. I read Every Summer After, which is Carley Fortune's first book. I haven't read her second. This is her third. I don't know. I really enjoyed Every Summer After. I don't think it was quite as good as everyone said it was going to be. I didn't find this as good as everyone said it was going to be. It took me ages to read it, so I don't think that helped because I was in a reading slump, so I didn't enjoy it as much. It was a while ago that I finished it, so I don't remember exactly what my issue was with it. I think there was a lot of miscommunication and a terrible third act breakup. I think that's what it was. I think they spent so long getting together and then they finally got together. It seemed really genuine and then they like broke up as a third act breakup. I think that's what it was. I think the characters were starting to annoy me. The plot was really predictable. I don't know. Everyone has been raving about it. I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't incredible. There are much better romance recs in this list alone. Never mind outside of it. I don't know. I just wasn't completely sold. The location was lovely. And I do enjoy her writing. It just wasn't the best. Then I read A Memory of Song by Scott Palmer. I was very kindly gifted this book by Love Books Tours as part of a reading, as a part of a book tour, believe it or not, as part of a book tour. This is a really chunky book. It's also got lovely flop, but it is a very chunky book. I struggled to get through it, but just because, as I said, of my reading slump and I was juggling all these complicated books at one time, this was a very much high fantasy. It has a very original magic system and fantasy system that I've not really seen before, that was really, really good, and I really did enjoy it. I was hooked. Like, once you got into it, you really got into it. Oh, it's Luna leaving. You probably didn't even realise she was behind there. It got complicated. There were so many different characters. There were so many different plot points going on at the same time. So many different narratives and everything like that. It was really good. It was a 3-star just because it got so complicated and I just got a bit lost. But if you're a high fantasy fan, I'd highly, highly recommend. I just can't cope. My brain finds it too complicated. I struggle unless I'm in the right mindset, but I do struggle if something is too high fantasy. I struggle with it, but it was really good and really original, so I would recommend. Then I read Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, which was a 2-star. I would not recommend this book. This pains me actually, because I absolutely love E. Lockhart. I love her writing so much. I adored We Were Liars, Family of Liars. Incredible books. So when I saw that she had other books and I came across this one for £1 in a charity shop, I was like, oh, I've always wanted to read. Oh my god, sorry, I just realised that this book is in a state. That was not me, might I add. So what was I saying? Yes, when I saw that she had this book, I was like, of course I'm going to read it. I really, really enjoy her books. I did not enjoy this one. It's so weird. The premise is brilliant. It's really complicated. I don't think it's supposed to be. It's really short, but it took me forever to get through it. It's done backwards, so you're like going back in time, but then in each like section you're obviously going forward in time. And then there were not that many characters, but there seemed like loads of characters, and I just got really lost. I think as well, like, the ending just leaves you questioning everything, which maybe was the point, but I hate endings like that. I'm like, please just give me a bit of closure. I just got a bit lost. I really wanted it to be good and it just didn't live up to it, unfortunately. So I don't know. I don't quite know how I feel about that one. In fact, I definitely wouldn't recommend it, but I don't know. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Moving on. Then I read Heroes of Olympus. The first one, The Lost Hero, which is by Rick Riordan. Sorry, this is really weird with the sunlight. Yes, one of my best friends has been trying to get me to read this for ages, and so we're doing a thing just now where I read a book and she reads a book at the same time, and we swap book recommendations. So I finally got around to this. I loved the first series, the Percy Jackson series. This is amazing. It did sort of throw me off initially because you've got all these main characters from Percy Jackson, and the characters in here are like, who's this dude Percy Jackson? And obviously you know all about them and how important they are. This was really exciting. For such a thick book, I read it really, really quickly. His writing is just so easy. It's so escapist. It's just so fast-paced and exciting, and I just love it. I just really, really love the way he writes. I am so excited to continue the rest of the Heroes of Olympus series. I love all these new characters that we're getting. Yeah, very, very good. Would highly recommend. Then I read A Game Most Foul by Alison Gervais, which I was very, very kindly gifted by HarperCollins. I still can't believe that. How is this real life? Anyway, I read this book really, really quickly. I read it in like one train journey, and I finished it in a restaurant. It has got such a floppy cover. It's got a gorgeous cover. In fact, it's very, very telling of what the book is going to be about. I love this. This is so original. I've not really read anything like it. I usually don't enjoy sort of, I love I've forgotten words. It's like a cozy mystery sort of book. It's so cool. It has a bit of history in it as well, which is really exciting. I really, really enjoyed the way she wrote this. It was so fast paced. I loved the characters. I was very, very intrigued. Like, I didn't want to put it down. It was pure escapism. It didn't get boring at all. It was really, really exciting. I would highly, highly recommend this if you're wanting for something a little bit different. And it's like a cozy mystery. It's got a lot of like Sherlock Holmes in it. It's really, really good. was a 5-star. Then I read The Rule Book by Sarah Adams, which I have been so excited to get round to. I bought it as soon as it was released, and then it's been sitting there, and I almost didn't want to read it because I knew once I read it then I would have read it, if you get what I mean. It was amazing. It lived up to the expectations I had in my head. Sarah Adams can do no wrong. This is the sequel to The Cheat Sheet, and one of my favourite things about interconnected series is you see the characters and the relationships that you see in other books like further developed, and I just loved seeing them again. I love this whole setting that she's got going on. This book is amazing. It's just so well written. You just feel, it feels so real and authentic, and I actually have no criticisms. 5 stars. I would recommend Sarah Adams to absolutely anybody ever. It's just, she's just my favourite. She's just the best. All I can say, we're almost there. Then I read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evanas Welch. I've been wanting to read this for a while. I've seen a lot of people reading this. I've seen a lot of hype around it. I bought it, and I wanted to read it in the summer. So I did read it in the summer. It's lovely. It was a 5-star as well. It is a little YA romance set in Italy. It's perfect for on holiday. It's got so much more than just romance. It is a YA romance, but it also deals with a lot of like grief and a lot of other issues. I loved the dual timeline. I loved the way you got snippets from her mum's diary and everything like that. I was just like reading because I wanted to get to another bit of her mum's diary. It was slightly predictable, but also it was just so well done that I couldn't take it down from a 5-star. It was really lovely. I love the sentiment of it, and yeah, it's very well written. I'm really excited to read the other books by the same author. 2 books left. Then I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I actually can't. This book, biggest 5 stars. I love Abby Jimenez. I read, what did I read? Part of Your World. I read Part of Your World and it blew me away. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And then I really did. And then, you know, it was just like a passaway comment. I was like, yeah, I love Abby Jimenez. Follow her on Instagram and everything. That's actually really lovely. And then when I saw this book and I was like, this has been on my want to read list. I've wanted to just buy it. What is stopping me? So I bought it when I was away actually. And then I read it when I was away because the hype was just getting too much. I'd seen so many people on BookTube, on Bookstagram talking about this. I had been read this blurb so many times, and the excitement got too much for me. If you have not read it, what are you waiting for? If you were like me and you're like, I don't know, yes. I was actually sobbing my heart out. It deals with so much more than just a romance. It has got, this is what I love about her books. They're not just romance books, they are so deep, and the issues that they deal with, I actually can't even express to you in words how incredible this book is. You definitely need to go and pick it up. Maybe check every single video I struggle saying this. Maybe check trigger warnings. But I actually, yeah, I was an absolute mess. I was gonna say something else about it too. Oh yeah, also I hate a third act breakup, as you well know. But she does them so well. There is a third act breakup, I will warn you, but it's none of this. It's not a miscommunication third act breakup. I feel like she writes third act breakups where you feel that it's circumstantial and it needs to happen. You know, when you read a third act breakup and you're like, actually that's fair, without it they might not survive as a couple, then this is the sort of, it's a good third act breakup. She just writes perfect romance. If you're looking for a book for the summer, this is it. I have found it for you. But yeah, be prepared that it is gonna tug at your heartstrings, but I fell in love with that book. It broke my heart and it stitched my heart back together again. I have one more book that I read, and then that brings us to the end of this video already. I read, finally, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'll put a little photo up. I do have a physical copy, but it is somewhere in the mounds of my TBR. I actually read it on the Kindle app on my phone when I was away. I was sharing it with my sister, and she wanted to go to bed, and so I couldn't have the light on to sit and read all these physical books, so I was just sitting in the dark with like my little Kindle app on my phone, and I decided to read The Silent Patient because I was like, I might as well read something that's on my TBR to try and make a dent in it. I read it. It was a 4-star. I wanted it to be a 5. I so wanted to be obsessed with it, as the book community has been. The plot twist was absolutely exceptional, and I can completely see where everyone that adores this book is coming from. But I just didn't think it was as unpredictable as everyone was saying. I didn't exactly predict it, but I wasn't as surprised. I was a little bit taken aback, but it wasn't like monumental. Yeah, I don't know, it just fell a little bit short for me. You know, sometimes when this book, and I think maybe part of it was because I was building up so much in my mind, and even like people I talked to like outside of the book community, like people that don't read that much, were telling me about how like life-changing this book is, and how like it's one of the best thrillers they've ever read and everything like that. I just don't think it was. It wasn't bad. It was very good, in fact, but just wasn't quite a 5-star. I'm a lot harsher on my thrillers as well than I am on most other genres of books, but yeah, I finally read it. I'll get it off my TBR whenever I find it in amongst all this pile of books, but yeah, I finally read it and it was a 4-star. Okay, that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. My favourite read of July will have to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, closely followed by the Sarah Adams. The Cheat Sheet would have been my favourite, but I don't put rereads as my favourite reads of the month because it defeats the point. This one is definitely my favourite, as for all the previous reasons I have said. So if you take one book away from this video that you need to go read, it's this one. Yeah, but anyway, that is me at the end of July. As I said, I'm not doing great in August yet, but I'll see where I get by the end of the month. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all soon for another video.